This is 10 seconds after my last vlog ended. Just got back from New York with ESPN. That's my clothes. And now I have to grab my camera and drive to Tallahassee for filming Combat Night. Oh, almost forgot. Putting this ESPN shirt back and grabbing this Combat Night one. I have so many different company shirts because I freelance for so many different clients. All right, look how organized this bag is now. Beautiful.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now ready for our next bout. Hold on to your seats. This is a heavyweight kickboxing match.
Is it possible that I made the right purchase and the wrong purchase at the same time? I don't know, because I have a recipe of parts that I use to hold my monitor up, and it works so well. And it better, because that wooden camera part with the little red NATO clamp, that's $250. And if you've watched the vlogs, you know someone stole it off my porch, and I put in a claim. They didn't approve it, so I had to buy it again. So I spent $500 on this little clamp, and it has very, very good fluid movement, but I can't fold it in like the Sony monitor, lay it flat. That's what I want. Until a buddy sent me this video, and he said, hey, I heard you were looking for something with this functionality. This is from Condor Blue, and it has the rotation, it has tilt, and most importantly, what you've been after is it folds in. He sent me this video 6 months ago, and just recently I checked in and I said, hey, is that monitor mount still working, or has it flopped over? He said, nope, working great, because that is the issue. I've been recommended so many times, why don't you get this small rig mount and all these Tilta mounts? And it's because they're great in the beginning, and then they lose tension and they fall down, especially when they're extended laterally. So now, after spending all this money on this wooden camera mount, I feel like I'm gonna try the Condor Blue. It's much cheaper. And anyways, that's the end of the Combat Night coverage, just because I do so many of them. But this was a crazy week. I went from New York City, went back home, drove 4 hours from Orlando to Tallahassee, stayed in an Airbnb, and then got up in the morning and started driving right back 4 more hours to Orlando. I'm so glad to be done. Out in the middle of nowhere, they got airboat tours. That's pretty normal for Florida. And then they also got gator hunting. I am literally in the middle of nowhere, but I'm gonna stop off, grab some coffee, food, and watch a cranky cameraman vlog. So, not a bad morning. Finally, back home in Orlando, but now I'm hungry, so I'm gonna get some Thai food. But I have a secret trick. The local Thai shop has a buy one get one free deal for chicken pad Thai, exactly what I wanted. With my Amex Platinum card, I get $15 in Uber every month, and that extends to Uber Eats. Since I live downtown, I'm gonna walk the 10 minutes to go to the Thai shop and avoid the delivery fee. So in total, 2 dinners for my girlfriend and I for $4. I really like these high-tier credit cards. If you know how to use them, they're really beneficial. Jumping in on my buddy's project, oddly enough, we're doing interviews, but only handheld. And I'm the assistant, so I don't have to bring any gear, which is nice sometimes. All right, minimal kit on this one. Oh, no, I gotta go back inside. Like I said, minimal kit. Everything is inside this big Pelican. I always wonder if I need to get one of these. I mean, they're really handy, but they're just big, which I guess is the purpose.
Good? Action.
It's always funny when you get the interview set up and then the entire office wants to come in and look at it. I mean, I get it. This is the big thing happening this morning. But for us, it's work as usual. So this is Adam Kalinowski. You've probably seen him on a couple more vlogs, but he is a production company owner here in Orlando. And we've worked together a few times. Mostly I'm the one freelancing for him. And we have a couple new gigs coming up. San Francisco is one of them. Super excited for that. And he's also going to be helping me for my Orlando Filmmaker Meetup, which, by the way, the slots sold out immediately within 4 hours. And I'm super impressed by that. And by sold out, I mean they were RSVP'd, because this is a free event when I hold it in Orlando. And that is just a big indication that people want the community. They want the just connection. You know, I've done this a bunch of times in Orlando, and then I took it to Atlanta, Dallas, and then took a break. So now that I'm holding it again in Orlando, I'm super glad that there was that initial jump on getting the tickets. So I talked to the venue owner and I said, can we open up a few more spots? And he said yes. So at this point right now, this is how many spots are taken. So if there's any left, the event is today, right when I'm posting this. You should come out, and this is going to be the biggest one so far. So I'm very excited for it. And there's just nothing like this around here. I'm not saying my event is the best or has some unique factor, but I just like that it's happening. It would be cool if there was other people who had their own, because everybody's got their own unique connections. And that means you can have different styles of meetups. But getting back to the job, this is video and photo. I tend not to take the video and photo jobs. One, because I sold all my photo cameras, but the mental switch to go from video to photo is a skill. Adam has it. He's a photographer as well, and he can make that switch. For me, it's a little bit harder. I get so video focused that I find myself not executing on the photo as well as I'd like to.
I think I'll like some of those.
Okay, we're at location number 2 at this Brazilian bakery. The scene is a journalist is gonna be inside and talking about the product while she's sipping a cup of coffee.
Olá, eu sou a Fernanda, eu sou jornalista.
Scene 3, take 1, action.
This is dope being an assistant. I barely have to use my brain. Just here helping out whatever needs help with. In fact, when Adam picked me up this morning, we drove in his car. All I did was jump in, and he goes, I got up way early, packed a whole car. I should have just hired you and had you do all this. Yeah, that's what, when you're the DP, that's what happens. But I like being the assistant on this one. I feel like whenever I'm the AC or PA, I always find myself booming a light over just because I see how much better it would look with it. And then when the other person sees, we both agree. And I got to try Brazilian cake for the first time. It's not like super sugary American frosting. It's much better. So, Adam, what are your thoughts on the Cineback and the new Doctor bag?
So I love this because I can shoulder it, I can set it down, easy, no problem. I end up shooting handheld a lot like this. And the way I have this monitor mounted, if I'm shooting low, like stomach or belly, or at the hip, I can look like this. And if I bring it all the way up to my shoulder, then I'm just looking at the camera screen, and I can still tap, touch, use all my functions. I can get to all my buttons.
And no
Get all the D-taps.
D-taps and no breaking down anymore, right?
No breaking down, just drop it in there.
This is the Sackler 3, right?
Yeah. So it goes in there like this. Boom.
That's nice.
Done. And the best feature of all. Bink.
Yeah, that's handy. Cool.
So.
Scene 3, take 2, action.
Com o aplicativo da Sendwave, eu não preciso esperar. O dinheiro sempre chega muito rápido.
There's a new YouTuber, Tommy Beal. He just moved from, I think, Missouri to San Francisco, so he is starting from scratch. I shouted him out on a community post a little while ago, and I think a couple of subscribers went that way. He is doing exactly what I think we all wish we would do. So he's in a new market, knows no one, wife and kid, very slim options right now. And he just put out a video where he is just, it's the funniest premise ever. I'm gonna take my big camera and walk into a big building and just see what does that get me? Who can I talk to? What connections can I make? Watch the video. He makes connections with, you know, no like forethought of let me overthink this. No, just walk in. And in his last vlog, he was making connections in places that you wouldn't really think. Anyways, Tommy, you are doing an amazing job. It's really awesome to watch as a viewer because I can see you already leveling up, and you've only been there a few weeks and made a few videos, but this is definitely your format. It's so authentic, blows my authenticity out of the water. He is like showing everything. So I can't wait to see what else you make, and just watch this journey continue to build. All right, I think it's time. These are my Rode Filmmaker kit lavaliers. I think that's what they're called. They're pretty chunky, and I have 2 sets of them. When I used my C70, I would put, you know, 2 receivers onto the camera. It took up a lot of space. They're big. And one of the main issues is when I mic up talent, you know, everybody nowadays is used to the Rode Go's. So when they would have this and it would just stick out, there's no wire, but it sticks out a lot. Shirts would come undone. I can't tuck this in anywhere. It takes up a lot of space. And like I said, I have 2 of them. I've used the Sony UWPs now multiple times. I think it's the right choice to go with them. So we have our B&H cart ready. The Sony UWP D27, and this is the higher frequency band. I could use the XLR cables to fill up both of the XLR ports on the FX6, but 2 weekends ago, I used this, which keeps the audio digital and it goes in through the hot shoe. It's really nice to, when you're assessing problems with the audio, cables are not part of the chain anymore. It's just, is this, you know, cable bad? Is it this point? Is this vulnerability? Nope. It's all just getting routed through the contact points. So those 2 things I've been holding out for a while, and the Sonys are on their way. That was a long time coming. I don't usually make impulse decisions. I overthink things over and over and over again, and then with the benefit of being able to rent them for certain jobs and really see, is this something that I want? Also, the client picks up the rental. Now I can, you know, with a lot more confirmation, say this is probably the best tool. And I'm excited, even though I don't look excited. I always feel that both sides of when you're like, oh, I'm excited for this new thing that I bought, but I also just spent a lot of money. Is it worth it? And I just kind of like live in the middle of, I guess we'll wait and find out. I wasn't able to get any sparring footage, but I did have a round of body shots with that big guy, the heavyweight, and one of them, he just like knocked me back like a superhero. So this is super fun. This is exactly what I want to do. No injuries yet. Just trying to learn the movements. And it's nice in between filmmaking gigs to be able to actually use my body since I'm not skating as much as I used to. Going to Publix, getting my normal groceries, but using my business card to get refreshments because the networking meeting is a business expense. And I need to get a sponsor for this because I don't want to pay this out of pocket, and having 50 business owners is probably a huge value to some company if they have 5 minutes to talk in front of them or put their logo there. So that is going to be my new venture, is getting sponsors for the Filmmaker Meetup. If anybody has experience or tips on how to approach that, I posed the question in my Dallas Filmmaker chat, and someone said I should ask my CPA if he would like to get in front of a bunch of business owners, and I think that's a great idea. Give him a few minutes to talk, and then he chips in for the budget for the refreshments, because right now I'm not making money on these, but the networking is extremely valuable. So that's my next thing, getting sponsors for the Orlando Filmmaker Meetup. Surprisingly, as a freelancer, I have to do a bunch of Zoom calls, whether it's a discovery call or an alignment call. It does take up a little bit of time in my schedule, especially when you have to figure different time zones. Nowhere near as many as if I was a full-time employee, 9 to 5. I do not envy you guys. But for some reason, March and April is when every client in the world said, we want to book you. So I have a ton of projects coming up, which means a ton of preparation.